Ever get that eerie feeling? Like maybe there are these skilled, unseen figures just operating right under our
Oh,
noses.
yeah, that feeling. Well, today we're diving deep into exactly that, but in the world of Jackie Chan adventures.
Right, we're going to explore those enigmatic NinjaCon.
Exactly. And these aren't just, regular spies. We're using info from the Jackie Chan Adventures wiki over on Fandom. Our mission.
Our mission is to really get under the hood of these guys, the NinjaCon,
Hmm.
one of the most persistent threats in the whole series.
Yeah, absolutely. So the wiki tells us they're one of the 9 tribes of Shadowkhan. Think of them as like supernatural enforcers.
And the NinjaCon are the stealth specialists, the martial artists of the group.
Mm-hmm. And what's really interesting is how they even appear. They're summoned usually by the Oni General Rairaku.
Or maybe more often just by whoever's wearing his mask, right?
Exactly. That mask is key. It gives the wearer control.
And the wiki points out just how often these guys popped up. They were like the go-to ShadowCon.
Yeah, the most commonly summoned ones for sure. They show up constantly.
Why do you think that was? Just availability or something more?
Well, I think it speaks to their versatility. They've got the fighting skills and those shadow powers. Makes them useful in a lot of situations.
That makes sense. Plus, they have that really distinct look.
Definitely. So yeah, this deep dive, we're peeling back the layers, their appearance, their history through the show.
Their powers, the gear they use, and importantly, what actually takes them down, their weaknesses.
By the end, you'll have a really solid grasp on the whole NinjaCon phenomenon.
Okay, let's start with how they look.
Yeah.
Because it is pretty striking.
It really is. You've got that grayish blue skin, really unusual color.
Yeah, not your typical bad guy color scheme.
Yeah.
And those eyes, glowing red.
Definitely unnerving. You wouldn't want to meet that gaze in a dark alley. Or anywhere, really.
Huh, no kidding.
Yeah.
And their outfits reinforce that whole image.
Totally. Classic black ninja suits, but with these, dark red and blue accents.
It's familiar, but supernatural,
Mm-hmm.
And their faces are mostly covered, too. Adds to the mystery.
Mm-hmm. And even the little details count, like their belts, dark red belts.
Right, and the wiki mentions that's where they keep their shuriken.
Exactly. They're throwing stars, so even their look tells you they're fighters, they're armed.
Okay, so that's the look. What about their history? They've been around since the beginning, pretty much.
Yeah, the wiki tracks them right back to season 1. Originally, they were working for the Dark Hand.
Valmont's crew. So they were basically his shadowy muscle for whatever scheme he was up to that week.
Pretty much. But the key thing, as we mentioned, is that mask. The Oni General's mask.
Right, because their loyalty wasn't really earned, was it? It was compelled,
Exactly. Whoever has the mask has the control. It's like a puppet master situation.
which led to that weird situation in season 2 with Jade.
Oh, yeah. That was wild. Jade Chan somehow ended up their queen for a bit because of a tattoo.
A tattoo of Terakudo's face on her ankle, apparently. It just shows how unpredictable the magic is in this show.
Definitely. And then, still in season 2, that Demon World 2-parter, they were serving Shendu himself then.
Not just as soldiers, but they were guarding the Book of Ages in Australia. That's a pretty important job.
Yeah, shows they were seen as capable, not just disposable minions.
Then season 3 rolls around, and even Daylon Wong wants their help.
Right. To capture Bob the Noble Sheep, of all things.
It's kind of funny picturing these deadly shadow ninjas trying to, herd sheep.
It is, but it shows they were considered effective for, well, almost anything. Then, season 4, the mask resurfaces.
Chow gets his hands on it this time.
And summons them. And they were big in that Ninja Twilight episode, too.
But their run had to end eventually. How did that happen again?
Well, the wiki says their final canonical appearance in the series was when Terakudo finally put on his own mask.
Ah, okay. And they got sealed away along with him.
Yep, that was pretty much it for them in the main show. A definitive end.
Though the source does mention they popped up in a comic strip later. One more thing,
And in the video games, too. For anyone who played those, they definitely left their mark.
and here's that fun bit of trivia from the wiki. They're in every season's opening credits.
Even season 5, when they
Yeah.
weren't even in the episodes.
Yeah, even season 5. Just goes to show how iconic their design became.
Wow. That really does cement their place. Okay, so appearance, history, now for the cool stuff. Powers and abilities.
Right. This is where they're more than just guys in ninja suits. The wiki stresses their ninjutsu skills.
Yeah, they're expert martial artists. They can genuinely hold their own against fighters like, well, Jackie.
And it's not just skill, it's physical ability too. Speed, agility.
Incredible speed and agility. The wiki even compares it directly to Jackie Chan's, which is saying something.
Definitely. Gives you an idea of how they move, how evasive they are. But that's the ninja part. What about the Shadowcan part?
Ah, yes. Their shadow powers. They can literally turn into shadows,
And travel through them?
travel through them, and even phase through solid objects, walls, doors, whatever.
Okay, that's a huge advantage. Stealth, infiltration, makes them super hard to track or contain.
Exactly. They can just melt away or appear out of nowhere. It's a core part of what makes them dangerous.
Now, what about gear? You mentioned the shuriken earlier. Most Shadowcan don't really use weapons like that, do they?
No, they usually don't. And that's a key difference the wiki highlights for the NinjaCon. They do use weapons.
Oh, the shuriken throwing stars.
Mm-hmm. And apparently, especially early on, they sometimes used sticks as well, like simple fighting sticks.
So they've got the shadow powers and physical weapons, that combination.
Makes them, as the wiki suggests, probably the most versatile of all the Shadowcan tribes. They have options.
Magic and martial.
Mm.
Okay. And didn't the source mention something about their suits?
Oh yeah, a small detail, but interesting. Their outfits apparently let them glide for short distances.
Glide, like bit of limited flight.
Sort of, yeah. Adds another dimension to their movement. Not just ground combat, but a little aerial maneuvering, too.
Wow. Okay, fast, agile, shadow phasing, weapon using, gliding ninjas. They sound really tough to beat, almost unstoppable.
Almost. But like any good adversaries, they do have weaknesses. The wiki lays them out pretty clearly.
Okay, let's hear them. What can actually stop a NinjaCon?
Well, first off, being made of shadow isn't all upside. A really strong physical hit can disrupt their form.
So you can punch them out?
Kind of. It disperses them, sends them back to the shadow realm to regenerate, so it takes them off the board temporarily, but maybe not forever.
Okay, so physical force works to an extent. What else? Magic.
Definitely. The wiki mentions specific spells exist that can destroy them outright, instantly.
Ah, so the right magical counter is a hard stop. Bypasses that regeneration thing.
Precisely. But maybe their biggest weakness is something else entirely, their lack of independence.
Ah, right. They're just servants, following orders from the mask wearer or the Oni.
Exactly. They don't think for themselves, which, as the wiki points out, makes them easy to trick or distract. They're just tools.
So if you can outsmart their boss,
You can essentially neutralize them. Their effectiveness is totally tied to their summoner's commands and strategy. It's a major flaw.
that makes sense. And there was one more thing. Something about communication.
Yeah, this is interesting. Apparently they can't talk. Not to each other, not even to their summoner.
No verbal communication at all.
Yeah.
How does that even work when you're trying to coordinate an attack?
It must be tricky. It means teamwork relies solely on the summoner giving clear, maybe simple instructions. No way to adapt on the fly or report back.
That's a huge tactical disadvantage, you'd think.
Yeah.
Easy to exploit if you know about it.
Absolutely. So, summing up this deep dive, NinjaCon. Visually striking gray-blue skin, red eyes, ninja masters.
Speed and agility like Jackie Chan can become shadows, phase through walls, throw shuriken, even glide a bit.
They're vulnerable to big hits, certain magic spells.
And critically, they have zero independent thought, making them predictable, and they can't even talk to coordinate.
It's this mix, isn't it? Amazing skills, but these inherent built-in limitations. That's what makes them such a great recurring element in the show.
Yeah, totally. Which leads us to our final thought for you listening in. Think about this combination. Incredible ninja skill, shadow powers, but no autonomy, no ability to think for themselves or communicate complex ideas.
Right. What kind of challenges would a force like that face in, say, a more complex real-world scenario? How effective could they truly be when things get messy and require adaptation?
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It-
About power, control, and whether skill alone is ever enough without independence. Something to mull over.
Definitely. Until our next deep dive, keep pondering those shadowy what-ifs.